Okay, so you're here with us on the deep dive because I think it's safe to say you want to understand things quickly.
You want to like cut through the noise,
Exactly.
get to the essence of things.
Yes, and be efficient with your time, and I think we respect that, and we are here to help you with that.
Absolutely.
That is our goal today, and so today's deep dive is focused on rapid physique transformation. We are looking at a guide called Advanced Anabolic Secrets, and this is all about how to change your physique significantly in a relatively short amount of time.
Yeah, they're talking like 8 weeks or less.
Yeah.
What's interesting is this guide is aimed at people who classically have trouble gaining muscle.
The so-called hard gainers.
Yeah, hard gainers or people who have trouble losing fat.
Yeah, and very specifically, it emphasizes drug-free methods.
Absolutely.
So no steroids, no crazy things like that. Just good old-fashioned
supplements,
diet and exercise and a few supplements.
Yep.
Okay, so this guide dives into training protocols. It gives a lot of nutritional recommendations and even suggests some specific supplements.
Yeah.
And our mission today in this deep dive is to really unpack the core strategies within this Advanced Anabolic Secrets guide for you.
Right.
Highlight the most impactful advice and help you understand how you might actually put these principles into action.
Absolutely. Let's dive into that.
Okay, so let's start with those of you out there struggling to gain weight.
Okay. The hard gainers.
The hard gainers.
Yep.
This guide actually kind of goes against some of the prevailing wisdom out there. They emphasize that simple but intensely focused training often produces better results than these really complex training programs.
Right. And they even go so far as to say that a lot of the training routines you see in these big magazines are based on what people are doing that are on steroids.
Yeah.
And so they're not really as applicable to the average person.
Like if you're, if you're just a regular person, you're not using any performance enhancing drugs, you're probably better off sticking to something simpler.
Absolutely. And this program has been used successfully for decades.
Okay. So what is the core of this program?
Okay.
What are we talking about here?
Get ready, because this is going to sound really simple.
Okay.
But it's one set of heavy high-rep squats.
So when we say high rep, we're talking about
20 reps.
20 reps with a weight that you would normally only be able to lift for 10 reps.
Right.
So, like, how does that even work?
Well, it's all about the breathing technique.
Okay.
So they emphasize taking deep breaths between every rep, at least 3. And once you get past 10 reps, maybe even more.
Wow.
So you're talking about like almost like a meditation in the middle of this set just to get ready for the next rep.
And this is all happening with squats with good form.
Oh, yeah.
You're not just like...
Perfect form.
Yeah, cutting corners.
Parallel squats, flat back, head up.
Yeah, what is the instruction for that?
Well, they say look at a point on the wall in front of you to keep your head up.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah, and really make sure you're hitting parallel.
So this is a huge mental component.
Huge.
To this. They actually encourage...
Visualization.
Visualization before you even start.
Yeah, picture yourself hitting all 20 reps.
Yeah.
And then positive self-talk throughout the set.
Interesting.
Yeah, so really like training your mind to do it as much as training your legs to do it.
Yeah, and then the progression here, they recommend increasing the weight by 5 pounds every single workout.
Every workout.
Every workout.
So you do that one set, you try and add 5 pounds next time.
That sounds...
It's tough.
Brutally difficult.
But that constant progression is what they say is the key to forcing your body to adapt and grow.
And this is like a fundamental principle of muscle growth.
Yeah, progressive overload.
Yeah, you've got to constantly be challenging yourself to make those muscles bigger.
Yeah, consistently challenging your muscles with heavier weights over time.
Okay, so you've done your set of 20 rep squats.
Right.
What's next?
Okay, so they actually have you immediately follow that with dumbbell pullovers.
Okay.
One set, 20 reps.
Okay.
And the emphasis here isn't on heavy weight. It's more about doing it with a lighter weight and deep breathing to help expand your rib cage after those squats.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah.
To kind of get that opened up.
After being all compressed.
Okay, and then after that?
Then you move on to some more basic exercises.
Okay, so give us an example.
Like barbell or dumbbell bench presses.
Okay.
Chin-ups, bent over barbell rows.
Okay.
Seated or standing dumbbell barbell or dumbbell curls.
Okay.
Standing calf raises. And even stomach crunches.
So a lot of these are like what we'd call compound movements.
Yeah.
Like they're working multiple muscle groups at the same time.
Multiple muscle groups, yeah.
Efficient.
Yeah.
Okay. And how often are you supposed to be doing these workouts?
They recommend 3 days a week.
Okay.
On alternate days.
To allow for recovery?
To allow for recovery? Yeah. But they also say listen to your body.
Okay.
If you're really sore,
Yeah.
you're not recovering, then maybe drop down to 2 days a week.
Yeah, like if you're really...
They even have something they call an ultra hard gainers routine, which is even simpler.
What's in that?
It's just squats and pullovers, and then they have you pair bench presses with dips and then rows with chin-ups.
Okay, so it's even more simplified for those who are really having trouble putting on the weight.
It's all about finding a frequency that allows you to make progress without overtraining.
Okay, so let's talk about fueling this muscle growth.
Okay.
So the guide talks about something called white magic.
White magic.
White magic. And no, it's not some obscure supplement you've never heard of.
No.
It is simply whole milk.
Whole milk.
Yes, they are huge advocates of whole milk for gaining mass and strength.
Yeah, they recommend at least 2 quarts a day.
A day.
A day.
Wow.
And for the really stubborn hard gainers, up to a gallon a day. They even tell a story about someone who carried a gallon of milk around with them everywhere.
Oh, wow.
And just like chugged it throughout the day.
Wow.
Yeah. And had massive gains.
That is a serious commitment to milk.
It is.
Wow. Okay. So beyond the white magic, what is the general dietary advice for hard gainers?
Well, they emphasize eating at least 3 large meals and 3 snacks every day.
Wow. So you're eating a lot.
Yeah, a lot of food.
Okay.
And the focus should be on complete protein sources.
So, like, give me some examples.
Red meat, chicken, fish, eggs, dairy, things like that.
Lots of protein.
Yeah.
And they even give a sample daily eating plan, and it's a lot of food.
It is.
I'm looking at it here, and it's like, it's a lot.
Yeah, it's a ton.
What stands out to you about it?
Well, it seems like milk is in almost every meal and snack.
Yeah.
And they have this thing they call a secret.
What is their secret?
You have to eat protein every 3 hours.
Every 3 hours?
Yeah, to maintain what they call a positive nitrogen state.
And that's essential for muscle growth.
It is.
Okay, so they're really emphasizing that frequent protein intake.
Yeah.
To make sure that you're
constantly supplying your muscles with the amino acids they need.
To build.
To build.
Okay, and then they've got this thing called the growth drink.
Ah, yes, the growth drink.
So what is this exactly?
Okay, so this is like a homemade concoction you make in a blender.
Okay, I like it.
Whole milk, skim milk, powder, banana, peanut butter, raw eggs, and ice cream.
Wow.
It's like a protein and calorie bomb.
Yeah, that sounds like a lot.
It is.
But, you know, if you're trying to put on weight, sounds like...
You gotta do what you gotta do.
Yeah, exactly.
Now, they do mention that if you're concerned about the raw eggs, you can pasteurize them at home.
Oh, okay.
Just by putting them in boiling water for a short time.
Interesting.
That'll kill any bacteria.
Okay, so we talked about the diet. They talk about some supplements.
Yeah.
For those trying to gain mass.
Right.
What are we talking about here?
So they recommend a basic multivitamin and mineral supplement.
Okay.
A meal replacement or protein powder.
Okay. Any brand specifically?
Yeah, they mentioned Muscle Milk.
Okay. Yeah.
Beverly International's Ultra Size.
Okay.
And then creatine.
Creatine.
Yeah, and they specifically talk about their own brand of buffered creatine called Hypergain.
Okay. And they give website links for these?
They do.
Okay. So you can go check that out.
Yeah.
All right. So that covers putting on the muscle.
Right.
Now let's switch gears.
Okay.
What about if you're trying to lose body fat?
Right.
And preserve or even build lean muscle?
Yeah.
What does this guide recommend?
Well, this is where things get really interesting.
Yeah.
Because they actually challenge some very common beliefs about dieting.
Okay.
Like they really go after low-fat, high-carbohydrate diets.
Really?
Yeah. They even suggest you read Dr. Atkins' New Diet Revolution to get a better understanding of their perspective.
So they're advocating for like a low-carb approach?
Yeah.
Okay, so what are some of their objections to the low-fat, high-carb diet?
Okay, well, they say it increases water retention.
Okay.
It hinders fat burning.
Uh-huh.
And it can even have negative effects on your hormones.
Wow.
And they point out that obesity rates have actually gone up, even as fat intake has gone down in many populations.
That's really interesting.
Yeah, it is.
And they basically say that this approach just doesn't work for most people.
They say it's ineffective.
Yeah.
And it can even lead to muscle loss during long workouts.
Okay, so what do they propose as the alternative?
Okay, so they call this their magic diet for fat loss.
I like it.
And it's a diet that's high in fat.
High in fat.
High in protein and very low in carbs.
That sounds almost counterintuitive.
It does.
When you're trying to lose fat.
But that's what they advocate for.
Okay, so what kind of macronutrient split are we talking here?
They recommend 65 to 70% of your calories from fat
Wow.
and less than 5% from carbs.
That is very low carb.
Very.
Okay, so what kind of foods can you actually eat on this plan?
So you can have all kinds of meat, whole eggs, butter, heavy cream,
Okay.
various oils like flax oil, organ meats, bacon sausage,
Okay.
4% milk fat cottage cheese, all kinds of fish and seafood, and some cheeses.
So it's a lot of animal products
Yeah,
and natural fats.
exactly.
Okay, and how strict is the carbohydrate restriction?
Very strict.
Like, give me an example.
Okay, so they say you should have no more than 45 grams of carbs per day.
45 grams a day.
And to put that in perspective, they say one baked potato could easily exceed that.
So you're really limiting your carbs.
Yeah.
Okay, they do mention an adjustment period.
Yeah, they say it takes about 3 to 5 days for your body to adapt to using fat for fuel instead of carbs.
Okay.
And they also stress the importance of eating frequently.
Still.
Yeah, 5 to 7 small meals throughout the day.
Wow.
Focusing on those permitted food categories.
Okay.
They recommend using a carb counter to help you stay on track. And to be aware of hidden carbs in processed foods, sauces, and dressings.
Yeah, sneaky carbs.
Yeah.
Okay, so this is interesting. They also talk about an optional weekend carb up.
Yeah.
So what is that all about?
So they say this is a way to potentially gain both mental and physical benefits.
Oh.
They even mention Vince Gironda's recommendation of having a pasta meal every 5 days.
So this is like a planned break from being strict low carb?
Yeah.
Okay, and they say this can help with what?
Well, it could help with replenishing glycogen stores.
Okay.
It could give you a mental break.
Yeah.
And there's some evidence that it can actually help with fat loss and muscle retention in the long run.
Interesting.
Yeah, they encourage you to experiment and see how your body responds.
Okay, but one thing they are very clear on is that consistency is key.
Absolutely.
If you're going to do this diet, you have to stick with it.
You can't just dabble.
You can't just cheat all the time.
Right.
Okay. And they even give a sample daily eating plan for fat loss. And it's got examples for breakfast, lunch, dinner, snacks.
Yeah.
And they focus on things like eggs, bacon meat, sugar-free Jell-O with whipped cream.
Homemade whipped cream.
Made from heavy cream and a sweetener.
Exactly.
Okay.
And they even have a quick breakfast tip.
Okay, what is that?
You can microwave your eggs and bacon.
So easy.
Quick and easy.
All right, so what about training for fat loss?
Okay, so for training, they actually recommend the same routine as for hard gainers.
The same one.
The same intense, simple routine with the 20-rep squats.
Okay.
But if you have a significant amount of fat to lose,
Yeah?
they do suggest adding in 2 to 3 sessions of moderate pace aerobics per week.
So like walking on the treadmill.
Yeah, walking, jogging,
Okay.
something where you can still hold a conversation.
Okay. And then, of course, they have their supplement recommendations for fat loss.
They recommend Xenamine, Nitrobol, and Jacked Up,
Okay.
and they provide website links for those as well.
So they're consistent with their belief that intense training and strategic dieting are the most important things.
Absolutely. Supplements are just a bonus.
Yeah, the icing on the cake.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's bring this all together.
Right.
If you are listening right now and you're looking to pack on muscle, the key takeaways from this guide are intense, simple training.
Yep.
Especially that one set of 20-rep squats with consistent weight increases.
Yep.
And a lot of whole milk.
Lots of milk.
Lots of milk and other high-quality protein sources throughout the day.
Absolutely.
Now, if your goal is fat loss,
Yeah.
they advocate for a high-fat, high-protein, very low-carb diet.
With frequent meals.
Frequent meals.
Yes.
And surprisingly, they still recommend that same intense weight training routine.
Yep.
Possibly with some added cardio.
If you need it.
If you need it.
Yeah.
So this Advanced Anabolic Secrets guide
Yeah.
definitely presents some unconventional ideas
Ooh,
that go against a lot of the mainstream fitness advice.
Yeah, but they claim that it gets results.
Especially for people who haven't had success with other methods.
Yeah.
So it's definitely something to consider.
It is.
So for you listening right now, I want you to think about which of these approaches resonates most with your current goals.
Yeah.
Are you trying to bulk up? Are you trying to lean down?
Right.
And maybe even take it a step further.
Okay.
Think about the way your body's hormones respond to different ratios of macronutrients.
That's a whole other deep dive.
Yeah. Think about how manipulating your intake of fats, proteins, and carbs might affect your natural production of things like growth hormone and insulin.
Mm-hmm.
That is some food for thought.
It is.
And something maybe we can explore further
Absolutely.
in a future deep dive.
Let's do it.
Thanks for joining us.
See ya.